My name is Alex Alberti. I'm 28 years old and I live in a 1993 GMC Vandura. I'm originally from New York. I've been living on the West Coast since about 2010. I originally was in Oregon for about 4 or 5 years, and the past 4 or 5 years I've been living in my vehicle traveling the West. I spend most of my time rock climbing, slacklining, and surfing. A lot of time in the water since I first moved to Southern California about 2 years ago. I'm definitely a climber who surfs, not a surfer who climbs. Climbing was definitely my first love. It's something I was never exposed to growing up. Growing up on Long Island, it's basically a big flat pancake. I never saw any real verticality until I came out west and saw some real cliffs and mountains. When I first started climbing, I was first exposed to what's been known as the dirtbag lifestyle, just the concept of saving all your money for food, gas, and gear, just to keep the road trip going and following the weather wherever the stone's dry, just kind of pushing yourself and seeing where you can take it. Through that, I ended up finding slacklining and highlining, and for a while, climbing just turned into a way to get to the lines. In recent years, I've been falling back into climbing as my main passion, with the new added distraction of surfing, of course. If I'm going to be on the coast, it only makes sense to be in the water. And so the mixing now of the climbing dirtbag community with the surfing van culture, even just the locals down here in Newport having a really strong just van community. It's a subset I didn't really know existed. I kind of only knew it through the adventure sports kind of community, where people are actually traveling and using it as a means just to get out there. There's a lot of people I've been meeting who just live in the vans, and that's just what they do. It's just the lifestyle. Through the van life, I've met a lot of interesting characters, just being on the road, traveling. Here in SoCal in Orange County, I spend most of my nights at a place called Blackie's, just north of the Newport Pier. There are some really interesting characters, from Brando Vando to Party Marty and the mayor. Different reasons why everyone's in the situation, from hard times to just them preferring the freedom. There's a lot of really cool people that you can meet in the same situation who have taken a different path to get there, but you all end up having that one commonality. And we all just like vans. Probably one of my favorite places on the road has been Moab. The stone there, just the landscape is incredible. My preferred style of climbing is crack climbing, especially splitter, very pure cracks without a lot of face holds on top of it. It's kind of mecca for people like me. Over the past few years, I've kind of developed what I consider to be a goofy slackliner climber philosophy on life of sorts. And it's threefold. The first part is really just gravity. The long enough time scale, gravity always wins. And if you look at every form of life in some way, it's really just a protest against that gravity. Look at every tree, every blade of grass, it's just defying gravity in its truest aspect. And climbing, in a lot of ways, I feel like is the most brilliant manifestation of that protest. It's the sheer defiance of it. So climbing kind of is life in that way. But long enough time scale, gravity always wins. As we get older and stronger, we grow up and we get big, but over time we're gonna curl over and we're all gonna succumb to it. Even every star, every bit of matter should end up in a black hole at some point. The second part is kind of not the defiance nor the protest of gravity, but it's the conversation. And I kind of find that through slacklining and more recently through surfing. It's not necessarily an adversarial relationship, it's more like a flirting. You're kind of using it and you're bouncing off each other and playing, it's necessary for both pieces to be there. The third part would be the acceptance of the gravity, whether it be through base jumping, cliff jumping, even just taking the falls when you rock climb. Being able to accept briefly until you pull or get caught the inevitable fate. It's those threefold pieces that kind of make up life to me.